All right, gentlemen. Obviously, when it comes to hitting, there's a lot of things that we have to do well to become a successful hitter. We have to have good mechanics. We have to have an understanding of the situation. We have to have a lot of experience underneath our belt. In other words, a lot of repetitions, a lot of game like scenarios, seeing a lot of different pitches. We have to have confidence. And just as important as all those things is we have to have an understanding of timing. And I tell hitters all the time that hitting is like a dance. And when you're dancing, you have to know the beats. Well, when it comes to hitting, a pitcher has three different rhythms or three different beats. And I'm going to go through those rhythms right now. And then I'm going to talk about how hitters sync their movements up with the pitcher's rhythm. And so the first rhythm that we look at with a pitcher is the slow rhythm. That's when the pitcher's working into his knee lift and getting his knee to the top. That right there is the slow rhythm. When a pitcher's in a slow rhythm, as a hitter, we're simply in our stance position, staying nice and relaxed. We have a very soft focus. We're not trying to really concentrate too hard. We're just nice and relaxed. Now, the second rhythm is a tough rhythm. This is the attack rhythm. That's when the pitcher's going to rush down this mound and come towards the hitter in a fast movement. So I call this the fast rhythm. And you can see here Schilling's attacking, and his front foot's down, and his arms are equal and opposite of each other. Now the third rhythm is the release rhythm. That's when the pitcher gets to his release point and begins to let go of the baseball, as you can see right there. And the release rhythm is critical for a hitter. He has to know this beat. When the pitcher lets go of the ball, as a hitter, we have to take our stride or our positive move towards the pitcher and begin loading our hands to be able to be in sync. Okay? And so the next thing I want to do, now that I've addressed those three rhythms, is I want to show you a couple of professional hitters and explain their movements, what they're doing to get in sync with a pitcher. And we're going to start with a guy like Alex Rodriguez. Now, Alex Rodriguez is like a lot of power hitters in the major leagues because he has a knee lift. You see right there, he lifts up his knee, and then he takes his stride, his positive movement forward, as you can see right there. So when he's in his stance, the pitcher's in his slow rhythm. When the pitcher attacks Alex Rodriguez, that's when he's going to begin this knee lift, his negative move right there. And when the pitcher gets to his release point, Alex Rodriguez is going to begin to work forward and load his hands. Now that's a much bigger timeline for a hitter to work with. And that's why you'll see a lot more power hitters strike out more often, because it's a little bit more difficult to be as efficient and consistent as possible with that timeline. Now let's take a look at a guy like Chase Utley. Utley's a little bit different. He doesn't have a knee lift. As a matter of fact, all you're going to see him do is lift this front heel to get ready and then stride. And so what Chase Utley's going to do is he's in a stance position when the pitcher's in a slow rhythm. And when the pitcher begins to attack him and charge down the mound, all Chase Utley's going to do is lift up this front heel and get his weight on the inside of his back leg. You're to see this right there. That's his negative move. And so he's anticipating release at this point. And when the pitcher gets to his release point, he's going to take his stride forward and load his hands back, as you can see right here. Now there's another type of professional hitter out there that does a timeline that's a little bit longer. It's kind of in between the knee lift and what Chase Utley does right there. And you'll see this out of guys like Chipper Jones, and Sammy Sosa used to do this, and there's a few other guys out there that are doing this, but let me show you what that looks like. Chipper Jones in a stance, and what he's going to do to get ready to stride is he's going to take this toe and tap it backwards, as you can see right there. And then from there, he's going to take his stride forward and load his hands. And so Chipper Jones is in his stance when the pitcher's in his slow rhythm. When the pitcher attacks him and comes down the mound in his fast rhythm, Chipper's going to come back, tap his toe, and he's going to anticipate the release point. And when the pitcher gets to his release point, he's going to come forward and load his hands back. And so those are 3 different ways that professional hitters will sync up a pitcher. Now I want to show you one more angle just to demonstrate what I'm talking about. You'll see here Alex Rodriguez is hitting against Carlos Zambrano. Zambrano's in his slow rhythm right now. Zambrano's going to come down and get into his fast rhythm. His front foot lands right there. And when his front foot lands, you can see that A-Rod is beginning his negative move, beginning to lift his knee, continuing to lift his knee, and right when A-Rod or when Zambrano gets to his release point right here, A-Rod is ready to stride forward, load his hands, and be in sync with the pitch. Let me give you the example of Chase Utley really quickly. Now this is a simple timeline. He has a little bit more time to get ready. He's in his stance. The pitcher begins his attack rhythm, and Utley can wait a little bit longer because all he's going to do is lift his heel. Pitcher lands, gets ready to rotate forward. You can see right here Chase Utley begins to lift his heel, and he's anticipating that release point. So right there, when the pitcher releases the ball, you're going to see Chase Utley work forward in his stride, bring his hands back, and get in sync with the pitch. So that's what good hitters, good professional hitters do to sync up a pitcher. And as a hitter, you got to do the same thing. And every pitcher is going to be a little bit different with their rhythm. When we're on the on-deck circle, that's our time. It's our last dress rehearsal to get in sync with his movements.